And welcome to the latest edition of Cruzin With The Coaches, your favorite show on YouTube and wherever else, Spotify. Okay. Maybe not your favorite show, my favorite show. Julie, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just trying to prime the audience to tune in because um, we're the best co hosts on YouTube. At least I think so. So, everything good. I know we are in winter months now,
Right.
and I've had quite a trek through the city because down here everything shuts down.
hmm
If there's well, and if people don't shovel, by the way, like what we had was a few inches of snow, but then like a couple inches of ice on top of the snow.
Okay.
So here's the bad part. I'm roughly about 240 pounds, right? And I should be able to break through ice and snow walking on top of it.
Okay.
When I don't, that's when you know it's like concrete. Like that's the problem. That's pretty bad. And that's what we've kind of been dealing with with storms and stuff. But anyway, all good. All good. But no mate, this is the problem, by the way. I'm from Ohio, right? So I'm used to northern Ohio because southern Ohio don't get that kind of snow.
Right.
I'm used to this, right?
hmm
I'm like, where's the plows? Where's like where and you know what's really bad? Sorry, and I'll stop my rant after this. Like there's we've got some elderly folks on the block. We got people who don't have shovels. What I don't understand, this is the changing dynamic on my block.
okay.
It used to be that able-bodied people, not just men, right, but able-bodied people, we would basically shovel the entire block and everybody's walk and everybody's steps for each other, right?
Okay.
This last storm, I heard people out shoveling, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm glad people are. I look out and I'm like, but they only did their own stuff. I'm it at least you do like we're in row houses, so
hmm
we share walls. You
Okay.
could at least do your neighbors on either side, right? Like
hmm
I don't get that. I don't get that. Like, where's the community? Where's the looking out for people? Where's the all right? I know I'm out here. I don't know if they're home. I don't know if I don't get it.
Yeah.
So,
So we'll do the sidewalk here. So
mhm.
obviously do our own driveway, but
Right,
the
right,
on
right, right.
both sides they both have snow plows. I don't have a snow plow. So they'll do my sidewalk across the way because I'm like, I
Mhm.
not that I've ever asked, but they always do it, and it's just
Because
like,
that's the neighborly
appreciation.
thing.
Yeah.
That's that's what I'm saying. That's I, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. So
Yeah.
anyway, like I end up shoveling like the whole block just because I know I'm able to do it, right? And then I read the article that people over 50 shouldn't shovel at all. I was like,
They
"Uh,
do say that though. Yep.
I know, and I know it's anyway. I said I'd stop my rant, so okay, I'll stop my rant. Like anyhow, I guess let's get into today's show, right? Let's get
Yes.
into the show because
Yes.
people don't want to hear me ranting about storms. So, in this episode, we are going to be talking about the reasons. There are some scientific and psychological reasons that people can distance themselves from their mother or their parent. It's not just from mothers, right?
Okay.
Um, so yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Let me fast forward here. So this is an article from boarddaddy.com. The article is written by Monica Pop. Excuse me. And she says there's nothing a parent wouldn't do for their child. Yet, there comes a time when some children distance from their parents emotionally. And according to psychology, there are several reasons for that. This distance is often rooted in the complex and often unconscious psychological dynamics that exist within a family and affects the way children interpret values and their relations to their mothers or parents. I'll come out on camera real quick. So before we go into these psychological reasons, the reason that I added, and I was telling you this before, pre-show,
hmm
this article was focused on the relationship between children and their mothers. But the more I read it and more I thought about it, I was like, well, I think some of that can apply to parents overall,
In
right?
general, yeah.
Yeah, not just mothers. But before we get into the reasons, I just wanted to add this, right? I really believe like the parents' role is important for the children to see. So how men act in a marriage, right, in the home as a parent, it shapes how boys look at what men do, but it
Right.
also shapes what the girls see, right? And it doesn't have to be like these typical roles that you and I grew up with, but what masculinity might look like or what femininity looks like. It shapes what those children see, and it probably shapes how they view it, you know?
Right.
Um, and then same thing with mothers, right? It shapes kind of what they see. So I just wanted to put that out there before we get into the reasons. Anything you want to add before we jump into the reasons?
No. Mm-mm.
All right, cool. Let's jump into reason number one. So when steadiness slips into the background, so as humans, we tend to notice things that change and not things that stay the same. So when something is always there and we rely on it constantly, we stop paying attention to it and take it for granted. Because of this aspect of human psychology, the love of the parents is sometimes neglected and unappreciated simply because it's always present. Anything, or what's your take on that? On that, the always relying on something and then taking it for granted.
I mean, I think that's so true. And I think, I mean, especially from, I don't know, I know we're talking about it not being specific to mothers, but
Sure.
when it is specific to mothers, because usually, you know, when a house does become divided, it is the mother's responsibility, or it tends to be the,
Yeah.
and I hate saying the burden, but the burden does lie with the mother, you know.
Yeah,
It-
the lion's share
exactly.
caretaking falls
Exactly.
on the mother's lap. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think what ends up happening is it's like what they're saying, like the whole not appreciating piece is the fact that it's 120% of everything and
Yeah.
anything, you know,
Yeah.
and the fact like that whole every other weekend and all that jazz, like, oh, how nice it is to be able to do that. And that's
Right.
even if that's
Right.
even an option. Because in some cases you don't even get that,
Right.
you know, and
You there a house divided might just be fully divided with
exactly,
no
with no
support.
option. And if
Yeah.
there is no
Yeah.
support,
Yeah.
then it's literally you don't get that loveliness of let me talk to your dad or wait till I talk to your dad and like, you know,
Yeah.
your kids don't always appreciate that your piece is again nonstop. Like
Yep.
it's
Yep.
and it's hard. I think they
Yeah.
get it later in life, but it's
Mm,
not in
mm.
the moment. You
Right,
know,
yeah, not in the
not
moment
when
that
they're 12, not when they're 13 and 14, you know.
or 16, 18, 22. No, no, I
Yeah.
think you make a good point. As they get older, they're like, "Oh," they start seeing the sacrifice that you made,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
As a mother. I will add to that though, um, it doesn't always have to be a divided household either, right?
Correct.
I grew up
Correct.
in a two-parent well, let me specify. Yes, two-parent household, they were both physically there, but the philosophy was different,
What's different?
right?
Facts.
So, my dad believed that the woman's role was to take care of the kids, and the man's role, right, was to go and provide. That's it. So,
Yeah.
very much to what you said, though, yes, the burden fell on my mom to do the things, right?
Right. Right.
And it's funny, and I think of, like, sitcoms when I've kinda said this to my daughter, like, "Yo, I'm not a sitcom dad, so don't do that." But in the sitcoms, like, when the mom goes away, right? Or the mom goes and does something for herself, and it falls apart. because the dad's like,
always make it so chaotic for the dad, and it's just like, okay, come on, like there are the dads who can keep it together, so
right,
let's give
right.
credit where credit is due. So
But I do agree with you, like the appreciation, right?
right.
It's learned later,
Yes,
um,
yes.
not just Mother's Day.
And I don't want to take away from the men too, because there
Sure.
is this very nice reel that I've noticed that has been going around where they'll start a child with their father. They're
Yeah.
holding hands. I don't know if you've seen this.
Probably not,
And
but
the
yeah.
child starts to step away. Someone's asking questions, and the person is asking a question saying, step forward if your father says they love you every day, and then the child
Mhm,
steps forward. Step
mhm.
forward if your father takes you to school every day, or
Right.
step forward if like it's all these. And what the child is starting to notice is, one, they release the hand of their father; two, that they're looking back at their father; and that
Mhm.
three, they're way ahead and their father is way back because they never experienced that. And
Yes.
so
I have seen
this
that reel, by
the
the way.
sad
Yeah.
part is the kid ends up crying because they're like turning around like, oh my gosh, but it's real, like there are some men
Mhm.
who are really putting themselves out there, and
Yeah.
we do need to appreciate that. So
100%. I've said this too when inevitably, when the Mother's Day and Father's Day comes around, right? And single moms will be like, "Well, I should get a present too because I'm the dad." And I'm not that's not the debate and not
right.
for question, but I also want to make sure that I shout out because I know several single dads, and
Mhm.
they've been single dads from beginning, right? Like the mothers, for whatever reason,
Because
didn't
it
want any.
happens.
They didn't want any.
I know they
It's
try to act like it doesn't happen, but it does happen.
and we just don't talk about it, right? We just don't
Right,
talk about it.
right.
So, I make sure, and that's fine. Like on Mother's Day, you celebrate the mothers, and on Father's Day, you celebrate the fathers. Like, let's just keep it at that.
Yeah,
But you can also celebrate on a non-holiday.
right.
You can appreciate on a non.
On a
Yeah,
holiday, yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah.
yes.
All right. Number two, the one of the psychological reasons that children will distance themselves from their parents is the space needed to find yourself. So for a child to develop identity, it's often needed for them to create some distance. Children sometimes separate to understand who they are, but not to withdraw love. While this can feel painful or rejecting to a parent, it is usually a normal part of growth. When separation is resisted, that gap between the parent and the child tends to get bigger. Um, oh, excuse me, jumped ahead here. Sorry about that. Um, so, what are your thoughts on the gap that can happen if you don't let the child kind of separate?
I mean, I think the more you try to pull, the more they try to push.
Yeah,
So I think it's as hard as it would be to let go, you
yeah,
have to let go. Um, I think just understanding that, you know, to each his own. You've done your part. I always tease, and I know I've
it.
I've done my part. Like
I
18
can I
years,
can show the clips that we've talked about it. Maybe.
like 18 years I'm done. No, but I mean my kids always know that
Yeah,
I'm here forever, but at the
that's
same time it's just kind of like um you know they have to grow. They have to do them. You know what
it.
I mean?
It
And
changes age appropriately, right? Like
exactly.
there's a
Exactly.
certain level at we were joking at age 2, 5, 6, right? But then when they're preteens, there's a certain level of rope you have to let go, right?
Correct.
And
Correct.
then teenagers and so again, even they're always going to be your children, right?
Right.
Let's just make that clear.
Right.
But the relationship changes as they hopefully mature.
Right. And I mean, ultimately you want them to make their own decisions. You want them to live their best life, not the life they, well, most parents want their, let me, you want them to live their best life. You know,
Yeah.
what's the point of it all? Because, I mean, if they're doing what you want them to do, and then they wake up one day and
Mhm.
say, you know, whether it's waking up in their own bed and turning to their spouse and going, what the hell did I marry this person for? You know what I mean?
Ooh, and
It's
that's where
like,
that gap does this, right?
exactly. And
It's
so let them go, let them live their
yeah,
life. And, you know, if it puts you in a position where there's distance for a while,
right.
you hope that they come back and that everything will be cool. And, you know, you'll get it back to wherever it was. But, you know,
You
hopefully
you
it'll be
always
stronger and better.
you always leave the trail of breadcrumbs so they can find their way back home, you know?
Exactly.
Or,
Exactly.
what's the that Motel 6, "We'll leave the light on,"
We'll
right?
leave the
Like,
light on. Exactly.
and yeah, you're not you want the whole goal, at least in my mind, of parenting is to raise a respectful, citizen, right?
Right. Right. Right.
Because and like you said it beautifully. If you do everything for them, right, and if they're making choices that you want, they could wake up one day and be like, "Wait a minute, what am I doing?" Or
Exactly.
and what good is that? But it also takes accountability away.
Right. Right.
Or they'll call you for a little thing.
Ex
So,
and what
uh,
kind of life does that leave you?
I was done at 18. What are you doing at
Exactly. What do you
36?
want?
Yeah.
What do you want? What do you want? But like, you know, you see some people who have like these cookie cutter situations where, you
Mhm.
know, and I'm not down on anybody. Kudos to those who have met your sweetheart in high school and you're still with them
Sure.
and you're
Which is
celebrating 60 years and what have you.
yep,
But like,
yep,
if then you have your kids who did the same situation, and if they're only mimicking what you did,
right.
and then, you know, that's all they know, and they're thinking that that's what they're supposed to do, and then they're like in a situation now where they married the girl next door and they're kind of like, I did what I was supposed to do, now what? You know what I mean? Like,
It was yeah, now what, right?
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
well, we will touch on that with some of the psychological
yes,
that's huge, and we were kinda talking about that pre-show anyway.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so let's go ahead and move on to number 3. The 3rd reason is, pain released where safety is guaranteed. Excuse me. So when a child faces difficulties that create strong emotions, in them, they tend to release those emotions, including anger, frustration, and their inner chaos. Whew, sorry, and their inner chaos onto the one person who is always there and will never leave. Um, so yeah, that's kind of like displaced anger, right?
mhm,
And teens do that. I got some more slides, so let me go back to. I got one more. So this explains that why a child may be kind to the outside world and not to his or her parents. Because for the parents, this feels unfair or unhealthy, and it also, and indeed it is, right? But this behavior reflects the child's inner struggle. It doesn't reflect the value that the parents hold. So, I get that, right? Where that's that whole rebellion, right?
mhm,
The teenage rebellion. That's kids trying to find themselves. But what we talked about with number 2, right?
mhm.
Or even maybe not number 2, but you were like the more you pull, the more they push, right?
Right, right,
So it's a balancing act. As a parent, you want to appropriately keep letting that line out so that they have freedom to find themselves and make mistakes safely,
right,
right?
right,
Because if you don't give I mean, we talk about it all the time. You as a parent have some parameters, right? So let's say your parameters are here, but you tell them, "Well, here's what you could do."
yeah,
So that's still within your range, right? And they can mess up all they want within this space, but it's still safe, and that's how they learn, right?
right, right.
So
And I think that's probably like the most jagged pill is you want them to be able to be their most authentic self with you, but sometimes that authentic self is so ugly. You know what I mean? And you're
Yes,
just
I
kind of
do.
going,
Yes, I do.
oh, like,
Yeah. I didn't
ouch. You know,
I didn't want all of that, but I do want all of that.
it's
Yeah.
I didn't need all of that. But I did want it. You do want it, but you
Absolutely.
didn't need it. And
It
it's just kind of like, ooh,
Well, and
okay.
that's also sometimes where you have to separate yourself from, okay,
Because
this
it's
is
ego. That ends up being ego because half
yeah,
the times
yeah,
what they said
true.
hits so hard
Yeah,
because it was true, but you just like, whoa, like,
yeah,
damn, they hit the nail on the head. And
yeah,
then
yeah.
you have to go be an account. You have to be accountable. Like, damn.
Well, you're faced to then be like, well, wait a minute, is it where do I fit in that? Is that true? And then it might take you all the way back to, did I learn that from my parents? Or
Exactly.
so it
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. See, we're doing that new age parenting thing. Yeah, that's it. That's that's what we're talking about. Yeah, yeah. Let's do one more reason, and then we'll jump to the break. So we've got reason number 4 here. So the psychological reason number 4 that parent or children separate from their parents is when parents are disappearing from their role. So, out of love for their children, some mothers or parents limit their role to the one of caregiver and provider. This prevents them from expressing their own desires, and their boundaries are not defined. Because of that, children tend to believe that their mothers don't have needs on their own, and when self-respect isn't something that they see at their parents, it's difficult for them to learn it themselves. This isn't about judgment, but it's important that parents are aware that self-presence provides lessons as powerfully as sacrifice. So that's kind of what we were talking about, the role model, if you will, right? Like, and this is, it- I fully, I said it before we started getting into the psychological reasons, right?
Mhm.
But I don't want to limit it to this man woman thing. But it's what ideas of masculinity are and ideas of femininity, or the idea of nurturing is not the same from a father as it is from a mother, right?
Okay. Right.
And those are two different things, but they're both needed. And also, then how does the father or the mother see themselves, right?
Mhm.
If I only saw myself as a father, then how limiting is that for me wanting to do other things, right? If my
Right.
only thing is, well, I'm a dad, and then being a dad means I've got to make sure this, and this, right?
Mhm.
What about me? Like
Right.
I'm more than a dad. So, where does that expand? Where do I see my self importance, right?
Right.
Um, how do you feel about
Well, and because I think that's where you start to switch from that adolescent stage where they start to actually see you as a human being. You know what I mean? And
yes,
realizing
yes,
that not that you're godly, but you're just not as you make mistakes. You know
sure,
what I mean? And then
sure,
they're just kind of going, wow.
yep,
So like even as, because my children are all adults now,
yep.
and as they were getting older, I started to frame things and as I would literally look at them and say, look, I was today years old when some stuff like this happened. So I'm going through this with
That's at the
you at the
right,
same time. So
right,
we are taking this on together. So
right.
don't expect me to have the answers because I don't have the answer. You know what I mean? And so then it was just kind of like, oh, well, that
But
makes sense.
and that's so cool that you did that
Yeah.
because it like you said, it shows you're human. It shows you're forgive me for saying this, but it shows you're flawed.
I'm flawed. Perfectly imperfect.
But it shows the compassion, right, and
Yeah.
empathy that yeah, we're going through like there's no yes, there's books that you can read, but like
Right.
every situation is different. So we're
Yes.
going through this together
Together.
and figuring it out together,
Exactly.
but don't make the mistake that I will make the final decision as the parent. If that
Well,
calls for it. If that
and
calls
so,
for it.
and
Yeah,
now because they are
yeah,
older, I'm like, now it's like, this is your decision.
correct. Yep,
This is you. This is your choice.
yep.
I'll support you, but this is your choice.
A quick question before we go to break with this. When you support your adult children,
Mhm.
and I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah. Yes.
But how do you feel about supporting them when you don't necessarily agree with the decision that they're making?
I will tell you, my middle child probably paid me the best compliment the other day. She goes,
Okay,
"You know what, Mom, like the best thing I like about coming to you is you never put me in a place where you say, 'I told you so.'"
that's dope. That's awesome.
So even though I don't agree,
Yeah.
when they come back and we talk about it because it didn't pan out the way they expected it to pan out,
Hmm.
we just talk about it and we talk about how we can fix it.
Yep.
But the choice is always theirs.
Or even you probably talk about the lesson they learned from it, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
would you do it again? Would you do it differently? Would you
What
not
would
do
you
it at
do
all?
differently? How could
Right.
you have done like,
Right.
but I literally I've learned to when we talked about let them has been
Yes. Well,
like let them.
because you frequently remind me that I'm not allowed to have the "I told you so" moment. So I
And
I
and
get it. I get it. Yeah.
I strongly was that person who was, I know
Yeah.
I'm right. I know I'm right, and da 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 da, and this is how it's gonna be. Da 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 da. And where was that getting me? Nowhere,
Right.
except
Right.
for like into situations with people where it was just kind of like, well, I ain't talking to her because she's da, 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 da. And it's like, well,
Even when you know you're right. Like
exactly.
that's not the
Like
point.
I'm
It's
like
not the
waiting, like, don't you have something to tell me?
Nope.
But again, like I
Yeah,
said, it was the highest compliment to say, Mom, like,
for
I
sure.
appreciate that you are not
You
and I
don't
told
you're
you
not
so
the
person,
yeah. Yeah.
that you're not that person. And I'm like, oh, thank you for saying that. Like that, like I
You were like
strive to be
"I'm
that
not?"
person.
Like,
I
"You
know,
sure?"
right? I'm like, what? Really? Oh, I appreciate you. Can y'all get that
Uh,
recorded?
right, right. Like, I gotta write it down. I gotta take a note here.
But
Hey,
yeah,
come back,
no,
say it again. Yeah, yeah.
it's
That's cool.
definitely an art because you're sitting there going, oh, like that's not what you should do,
Well, because
But
you probably have played it out, right? And when they make that
Mhm.
decision that you might have made a similar one at their age, and you're like,
Mhm.
I can write the script for you. Like, I know
Right.
how it's gonna
But
go.
that was your lesson. That
Right,
was your lesson. So you
right.
have to let them have theirs.
And second question, follow up. Yeah, right. You're sure that I can't say I told you so?
Yes.
Like,
It's not fair. No, you
is
can't say that.
I mean, is there ever a
No,
time when okay,
no. You
all
can say it to yourself in the
right.
bathroom.
But
Just to
but
yourself.
but that's not really fun.
You just
I mean,
say it to yourself.
yeah, well, you know what, on that
Not the
note,
same effect, but
no, it's not. Like, Lee, yeah, no.
yeah.
Maybe I should have the "I told you so" moments with myself. Maybe I should do that. That might be more effective.
Make it a t-shirt. There you go. Get a t-shirt. There you go. Then you didn't actually say it, but you could just wear
With, like,
it.
an arrow, like, "I told them so." Like, "Oh, okay, we're onto something. We're onto something here."
There you go.
Well, on that note, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll go through the rest of the reasons why children separate themselves from parents. So stay there. We'll be right back. And welcome back from the break. This is the latest edition of Cruzin With The Coaches, conversation with Julie and Lee. We have been talking about the psychological reasons that children will separate themselves from their parents. Um, and if you learned anything from the first segment, no, you cannot say "I told you so." If you do, it may not be effective.
No.
If you are practicing that, try not to. As as I was told before break in the break, like, say
Not a
say
good
it to your
practice.
yeah, say it to yourself, not to your children, not to your children.
Right.
Alright, I think we are on, reason number 5. So, the 5th reason that children will separate themselves from their parents is the burden of an unpayable emotional debt. So when children believe their parents' love is a sacrifice, they may develop a sense of debt that they cannot repay. To relieve that guilt, they minimize what was given, like it wasn't much or that was their job. In this process, love shifts from a voluntary bond into an obligation. And when love feels forced, rejection can emerge not from the indifference, but from the pressure of owing. So before I ask you, I have a thought about that. I always am like, this is a choice. It's not my job. It's not an obligation because I don't get paid to be a dad, but I choose to be, right? And I
Yeah.
choose to be the best one I can be, flawed and all, mistakes and all, but it's a choice.
Yeah.
Not, although I will say, like when they're babies, you have an obligation to take care of another human being. Like that's fair.
Right.
But
Right.
please share your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, I think the other side of that token is also if you're raised in a household where it's more transactional. You
Oh,
know what I mean? So, like,
didn't
if
think
you're
about
in a
that. Yeah,
household
yeah,
where it's, you know, you do this because this, and I do this
right,
because this. And
right.
so when that is the functionality of the household,
Uh,
when you do become of age, it just kind
mhm.
of seems like you time out. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Like,
I totally see that. The
yeah,
transactional part, it's big. Because
yeah,
if you feel like if you, it's not the unpayable burden debt or not unpayable debt. If you feel like you're a burden to your parent
correct,
and they're
correct.
reminding you frequently, well, I have to go to work because you need this, or I have to now work a second job because, right? Like,
Correct. And,
yeah, yeah,
because you and I are the same generation, we probably both had the more likeliness of being raised by parents who were like that. So,
some transactional,
very transactional
yeah,
parents.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So it was just kind of like, I have to do this because of like just
right,
basically how you just said it, I'm stuck doing this because of this.
right.
And, it's just kind of like, or even, you know, the like as a parent, I was more, I want you to have every option in the world, and I will
Absolutely.
do everything that I can. I will pick you up from practices and take you to
Mhm.
games. I will coach. I will do
I
everything.
I'm
Where
doing it
my
to give you opportunities, not because I feel obligated to it.
exactly. Where my parents like, oh, you're gonna do that now? Well, you better figure out how you're gonna get home. And it was just kind of like, wow,
Right.
thanks. Like
Or
thanks for the support.
or like I was given a choice like, "Look, you can only do one of those things. You can't do all 3." Like, "Why can't I do all 3?" Like, I see some other
Exactly.
people do it. You
Exactly.
get the choice of 1.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
guess it would very much depend on like what your household type was too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's but no, good point about the whole transactional thing.
yeah,
That's transactions are not equated with love, by the way,
right.
parents. Like that's
Shouldn't be.
well, yeah, yeah.
Just shouldn't.
Shouldn't be equated with love. The transaction is a transaction. You do what you're gonna
Yeah.
do, but that doesn't it shouldn't require that yeah. Whole nother show, another topic. Yeah. Oh man. Reason number 6 that children separate themselves psychologically. A culture centered on self. So nowadays, societies favor personal satisfaction and individual comfort. And in times like that, relationships that require patience, endurance, and long term commitment often lose value. Parental love, which is dependable and constant, sometimes finds it hard to carve out space in a culture that celebrates disruption and excitement. Oh, sorry, went too fast. Uh, Jumped ahead number 7. Um, I think that one just ties into like this now generation, right? Like everything now. It's a quick relationship, or there's no time to cultivate real friendships, even, right?
Right. Right.
So, um, yeah. What are your thoughts on the number 6 reason? Sorry.
I mean, yeah, I think it's a struggle because
Yeah.
it's kind of like, I don't know. Every
It,
household is different.
it's true. It is. I'm probably gonna sound like the guy of get off my lawn, right? But I think a big part of the lack of cultivation of these long-term relationships, or again, parent to child, is the cell phone
Hmm.
and social media, right?
Right. Right.
There's there's this now interest in insert platform here, right?
Right. Right.
While those have a place and a time, I don't think you can, if you want a really good relationship with your kids at whatever stage, then those things can't replace that time, right? They
Right.
can't replace the interaction. Even if you're on the same platform and you share things back and forth, still not the same thing, right? It's
Exactly.
not the same thing.
Exactly.
So, sorry for that quick rant. Sorry. But I mean, I still feel strongly about that. It's almost like dinner time, right?
Mhm.
If you have the time, schedules get crazy, but maybe that's the time to reset where you eat together, right?
Right.
Maybe it's
Right.
even once a week. It might not be every night.
I was just gonna say that because if any more, like you're
Mm,
lucky if you can do that once a week, but like
right, right,
trying to make that a priority to do it once a week,
exactly. Yep,
is it should be important, like to try to do that, to say
yeah.
like, hey, even if it's on a Wednesday, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it could
Like,
be, yeah, and it doesn't have to be, yeah, we're not even talking about a set time. It could
yeah,
be any time, but it's a quick reset, check in, no phones.
right, right, right. Or if
So,
it's
yeah.
even just trying to figure out, you know, whatever, like for the month, like you guys were just looking at it going, okay, so Tuesday's
Right,
the day
right.
for, on this week, and then next week it's
Mhm.
going to be Thursday, and it looks like it's our schedule's going to be good for Sunday, like just trying to
Right.
plot that out so like it becomes a priority for the entire family.
And it
So,
also becomes like something fun to look forward to, right?
right.
It could
Well, you want
be
it to. You hope you hope that
yeah,
it will be.
anyway, yeah. Here's Thursday. All right.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, maybe play a game for dinner, right? Have dinner
Yeah.
games. I don't know.
Well, that's the
Yeah,
other thing. When's the
yeah,
last time you've played a board game with your family?
exactly,
You
exactly.
know?
Oh my
Yeah.
god. No, I was just thinking about that. We got a stack of board games, and they're like on the shelf. Oh, all
Yeah.
right.
We have ours. My son was just asking the other day. He's like, "We haven't played Michigan Rummy in a long time, Mom." And I'm like, "I don't think I remember how to play it." Like, wow. Like,
You're like,
I was
we
like,
did like 5 years ago.
yeah, I was like, "Yeah, you're right." But I was like, I can't remember. Like,
Yeah.
I will tell you, we always bust out with like dominoes or something
Right.
like that
Right. Right.
at
Right. Right. Right.
Thanksgiving or
Right.
Christmas, like,
But those are traditional
but that's
things.
it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
beyond that, we don't do it.
You-
Like,
Well,
because
I'm gonna challenge you here because I'm already thinking about myself. Right.
okay.
You know how to play Uno. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Have you played Uno with your kids?
Yeah.
And well, you see, and your kids are getting a little bit older than mine, but you realize how different the rules are now
Yeah.
with Uno. and all the rules that they make up, and I'm like, this is not the Uno that I remember.
Right, because we
But
even have the newer deck, and then they have that you can make up your own cards and stuff like that. And I'm like,
I was,
what is this?
I was like, what are we doing here? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So for anyone out there, there you go. I'm throwing the suggestion. I'm throwing the challenge out. Play Uno. Play Uno one night a week. I guarantee somebody's gonna walk away mad, but somebody will have fun.
I even have the Uno travel little tiny cards. So
Oh, oh my goodness.
yep, yep,
They go on vacation with you?
yeah, yep,
Nice,
yes,
nice.
yep.
See, family game night, y'all. We'll do a series on family game nights. We'll
There
no.
you go.
All right. Well, reason number 7 that children will psychologically separate themselves from their parents. It's the unspoken wounds that are passed forward. So for a lot of parents, it's hard to get over the unmet needs or their unmet needs of their own childhood. As a result, they give more than what is considered healthy, unconsciously seeking from their children the validation that they never received. As and specifically with the woman's identity, it is limited to if it's limited to motherhood, the children feel emotional dependence. They sense, even without words, that they are responsible for their mother's well being. Distance then puts this, becomes a tacit answer: I can't carry this. So I've seen that before.
Hmm.
With, I'll say it. I don't know if she listens to this or watches the podcast, but so my niece, when my sister was sick and my niece was really, really young, that was what she knew, right?
Okay.
And this is like a glaring uh, uh, analogy for this. So at such a young age, she almost felt responsible for her mother's physical well-being, right? Like
Okay.
it was even so many times the reason that she slept in the bed with her was because again as the child, okay, if at least I'm here, I know they're safe, right? Or there's and it's not a logical thought, but I can see that where, you know, again, it played out so many times that as a child, she felt responsible for something that her mother was going through, you know, and I can see that. I will say that gladly, as she's now has her own family, it's not turned into some of the same things, right? Like she,
Does
well,
she have a
luckily,
partner though?
yes, yes,
Okay, so
yep,
that's the difference.
that it exactly right.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
it's not just her husband, but also all of us other family members around, you know, when we're there and you know, takes a village to raise the kids, all that stuff.
Sure. Sure.
But yeah, I see. I'm glad that that didn't negatively affect her
Yeah.
motherhood. You know,
Right. Right.
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
that
And
was just a glaring example to me of children taking on that burden. You know,
yes. Yes.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
and I would have to say, like, for me, with like my mom having been a single mother and
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
getting married and then divorced and then being a single mother again, like
Hmm.
there were times where I felt like I was like the spouse or the partner type of thing, you know.
I can only imagine. Yeah,
Yeah, and so
yeah,
that was like a very difficult role where you're
yeah.
feeling like emotionally responsible for this person, you know, you're just kind of like,
Sure.
you know, and so like I know there has been points where it's been like, okay, I have to distance myself because I
Mhm.
am not this
I,
person's
I'm
spouse.
I'm
Like
not the spouse, right?
yeah, I'm not. And so
Right.
like even with you know, my kids now, like
Hmm.
haven't been in that same basically same situation.
Right.
And it's just kind of like, but we've made it a joke, you know. So like
Right.
I've acknowledged it, you know,
Right. You
like I've
you didn't
acknowledged that
purposely. You
situation.
didn't say,
Yeah,
"Hey, I'm leaning into you." Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
it's like I've expressed it and said, you know, because this happened to me, so I don't want it to happen to you.
Right.
And so it's kind of like been more of a, okay, mom, you're making me your spouse right now, and it's like, oh, but you don't want to be my spouse right now, you know. So like it's like, so we're like, we make it's
Right.
being made fun of, but acknowledging like, hey, you're asking me to be more than your child right now, and I don't
Right,
really
right.
appreciate it, kind of a
It's a
thing. You know what I mean?
it's a quick check-in point. It's a check-in
Exactly.
without it being like, "Hey, stop it." Yeah.
Exactly. And so it's just kind of like, whoa. But again, it's having the emotional intelligence to for both of us, for all of us, to
Absolutely.
say, like, look,
Yeah. Uh,
mom, what you doing right now ain't cute. It's basically what they're saying.
well, and also, like, not it doesn't have to be so heavy, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be a fight. It doesn't have to be it could be like, yeah, I'm not that. I
Exactly.
No, that's cool. Just a shout out to you. Think you're a great mom. You've
Oh, I appreciate
done
that.
wonderful with your family, and I think like that's what you want, right? As your kids become adults, and like I said, they're always going to be your kids, right?
Right.
They're always going to be your kids, but
Right.
your relationship gets to change
Right.
as they become adults,
Right.
and the openness that you've had with them and that you've shared on our show, I think that's crucial for people to take away with, right?
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't have, and you said it imperfectly perfect, right? It doesn't have to be perfect, but if
No.
you're trying, if
Right.
you're trying to be better,
Right.
if your kids point something out to you, don't shut them down. Like, think about it and be like, how much truth is there to that?
Exactly.
Or are they just being
Exactly.
brats? I mean,
Right.
because it happens both ways, right? They're
Right.
trying to
Right.
manipulate, but
Yes.
be open to it and be the best parent you can be.
Right. And don't force it either, too. I
Absolutely.
mean, they're still relationships. I mean, yeah, they're your own flesh and blood, but they're still relationships. And if they need to detach, you allow them to detach with, and it doesn't have to be an emotional breakdown on
Yeah,
either part. It's just,
totally.
you just allow space.
They're leaving the nest and they're flying,
Exactly.
and you'll leave the light on.
Exactly. Motel 6.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Just leave the light on.
Exactly.
Oh, folks, well, I hope you've enjoyed listening to the latest episode of Cruising with the Coaches, Conversation with Julie and Lee. You can find us on Spotify. Search the Live All Good podcast. Search find the Cruising with the Coaches episodes. You can also find our home on YouTube. There it is right there on the bottom of your screen. But if that's not your flavor, guess what? Facebook page has clips. You can catch more of me and Julie. Maybe laughing, maybe not. Probably me ranting, probably her telling me not to say things, but not to talk about the loofah, which I haven't talked about in a while.
No, it's been a while. Shh.
Yeah. And on that note, Lee and Julie signing off.